Show.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
What is up, everybody?
Hey,
what's up?
Welcome to another episode of Who Gave the Drummer a Mic? I'm Adam. We got, of course, Mike. And these fine two gentlemen, we have special guests kind of taking place are our buddy Chris, who got married last weekend and is on his honeymoon this weekend. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. How are we doing?
Of course.
Very well.
Doing great.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll say we'll start with the guy right below me. Go ahead and introduce yourself and then tell us what you do, your background, where you started,
All right, sure, yeah. Sure, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Okay, so I'm Thomas O'Brien. I usually go by Thomas F. O'Brien the Fifth. That's usually a mouthful, so I usually try to abbreviate it to Thomas F. TFOBV. But Thomas, everybody calls me Thomas.
T-Fob.
I'm not even keeping my name short and sweet. This is going to be really long. This is not a good story.
No, you're good. You're good, dude. You got time.
All right, cool. So I'm Thomas O'Brien, and I've like all of you guys been playing drums for a very long time. I've been playing since I was really young. Always wanted to play drums. Had to start out on piano and trumpet and snare drum and all these other crazy things my mom wanted me to start out on though. Eventually, I convinced my mom to let me buy a drum set in my teens, and that I started playing with everybody then. Before that, I was just kind of learning on my own, and rock and roll kind of came into my life, and heavy metal came into my life, and Pantera and everything, the stuff that we all hear and I'm sure people listen love too. And so that changed a whole bunch of stuff, and I've been playing drums every single day, except since COVID, which I'm sure we'll get into COVID drumming, but every single day, every week, since I picked up the stick, since I had that kit. And I also do a lot of producing. I've been producing music for 10 years. And I went to film school. So I do a lot of film as well, a lot of usually music video and lyric video kind of stuff, but I get to combine two creative worlds and actually make some kind of a little career out of it. So that's it. There's my short and so there's my little thing.
Oh yeah.
Nice. And how about you, Johnny?
Well, I'm Johnny Concannon. I'm from Indianapolis, and I started playing drums at, I think I was 13, but I had a kind of a similar story as Thomas. I started off, my mom taught me piano when I was a kid. We had a piano in the house, and my mom played, and she taught me, but I wasn't really trying to learn at that point. I was still kind of playing baseball and hanging out with my friends and stuff. So I wasn't really into it. Yeah, totally. But then school band happened, and I wanted to play trumpet real bad. I thought that was cool. But they were too many trumpets. How about baritone horn? And I was like, yeah, fine, whatever. I'll just do it because all my friends were doing it. So I still wanted to be in. Yeah. So I did it, and the band was real good. But then we moved back here to Indianapolis. We were living in Rochester. And we moved back here, and the band sucked real bad. And I was like, Mom, I'm out. I don't want to play this stupid instrument anymore. And I was like, I do want to play the drums though. I always kind of wanted to play the drums. And I was bugging them. I started bugging them about it. I remember seeing a dude playing at a 4th of July festival or something like that, go watch the fireworks. And there's a band. I remember just standing side stage and just watching this guy and being like, oh, that's kind of the look. And so it just kind of evolved from there. But yeah, then the same story, basically never put the sticks down, played every day. And then as I got a bit older, I started getting in, I got asked to start doing tech work. So that kind of took me in a slightly different, almost like a detour from the main thing, but it helped me kind of get into contact with the sounds and sort of the recording side of myself that I like, because I've been doing studio session drumming for, I don't know, about basically the whole time that I started playing. My first band guitar player had a studio in the basement. Dad was a music guy, and they had a full-on rig. And so I kind of just, drums and recording kind of went hand in hand with from the beginning for me. Yeah. So I was always into the tuning and sort of trying to understand what was going on with the sound. So that's kind of where most of my journey has been, is just sort of exploring sound and sonic stuff.
Hell yeah, nice. Dude. I love the stuff you post on Instagram. It always sounds top fucking notch, man.
Right on. Well, I appreciate it.
I'm always like, damn, this dude fucking dudes them tones you get out of your drum.
Agreed. Yeah, I Facebooked, I Instagram stalked you when he said who I was going to be on with, and I was like, oh dang, that sounds. I went through and liked. You probably saw who's this guy?
Oh, I saw it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. When we were putting the show together, when we first announced the show, like this is only episode 4, and we have like about 2 months of like guests coming on. Like, every Sunday is easy to book. Every Sunday for like the month. There's only 4 Sundays in the month, So
right.
But when we were putting together the stuff, I hit up Thomas, and Thomas is a good friend of mine, man. I've known Thomas for a minute. I haven't talked to this guy in a very long time, so this is gonna be just a catch-up session. And then Johnny, I never met Johnny before in person. I just followed Johnny on Instagram, and he like followed me back, and then like we just talked about drums on Instagram, and here we are here today. And we got some mutual friends in common too, I know. So but yeah, no, like Thomas and Johnny, like you guys remind me of each other in a way because you guys talk about the same stuff. You guys are like hella into drums, very nerdy in drums,
super nerdy.
And I thought this, like when we had this on the schedule, I was like, this should be a good episode because just like we're gonna just nerd out. So hell yeah, you got some.
I'll say if that was the case, like I would have come up with a little bit more of a creative, like, episode name, like Nerd Drum Talk or something like that.
The nerd shit. Yeah, here we go.
The nerd shit behind drumming.
No, so like Thomas, you moved to Nashville out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Did you move to Nashville? You moved to Nashville solely because Charleston is just ass. Like, I'm more gonna get out of here myself.
I know what you mean. I totally feel what you mean. Charleston's a smaller town, so it has a smaller music community, and it doesn't mean that the musicians are bad. There are some like you and I are both from Nashville.
No. Charleston, I don't mean that.
But there are some like really great musicians. I totally know what you mean. But I just want to clarify. There are some like really great for both of us. There are some really great musicians in Charleston. But there's not much of a scene. Like everybody knows each other. That's great. But it's just kind of like a little pond, and that's nice. And my girlfriend and I have wanted to move to a bigger city for a long time. And I've always wanted to be in Nashville. A lot of the video work I get is here in Nashville, and I've toured with people from Nashville as well. And like it like there's connections here, and we've like it just kind of honestly it kind of all fell in place at the wrong time. Like I had separated from the studio I was with and my partner at the time, and my girlfriend had just quit her job. So we were like, our lease was ending. Like this all happened within just like a couple months. So we were like, we finally have the opportunity. We should move. The housing in Nashville is like low. And again, at the time I was like getting a bunch of video work, is more constant. And she just happened to reach out to some people and like got a couple of job leads. And, we book all the stuff. It comes time to move here. And Enterprise Rentals calls us and says, hey, we might cancel your rental just like at any time. And this is so like we got 3 weeks. We're 3 weeks away from like our truck, like actual rental date. And they're like, we could just cancel it tomorrow. Like, I'm not saying we're going to, but if this gets any worse, then like we could cancel tomorrow and we can't rent you a truck. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Wow. So we made some changes. We were supposed to move over 3 weeks and do 2 trips. We ended up doing it instead of 3 weeks. We did it all in 3 days. So we put our entire apartment into 1 truck and just hauled ass. And we ended up having to go back and use a little trailer with our roommate, Nick Ellers. Huge shout out. He was a roommate for a really long time too here. But we ended up getting a really cool house. I got this awesome room in here. We have some really great neighbors.
Nice.
Yes, it's super spacious. I got some pretty tall ceilings in here.
Yeah, the A-frame up there.
Yeah, it's great. So I'm actually about to. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it.
That speak right there. You knew the
minus
A-frame.
the exercise bike he got out of the view of the camera.
Yes, this guy.
Oh, I love it, man. No, so you're in a pretty nice neighborhood and all that.
Yeah, very much so. It's quiet and kind of secluded. It's surrounded by woods, and all of our neighbors are musicians or love music.
What city of what like part of Nashville?
We're just south of like downtown Nashville in a city called Antioch. Okay. It's about 19 minutes away, which is nothing. And so every time anybody's coming, like leaving downtown, is when I'm going in. So I never hit traffic. It's awesome.
I used to live up in
Antioch or Antioch.
Antioch, yeah, CH at the end. Yeah. Where did you used to live, John?
I used to live in Nashville. I lived in Nashville 2 different times, or 3 different times. Sorry. Oh, wow. I lived there. I lived on 8th Avenue South, like in downtown, like at Edge Hill and 8th, basically, back when it was still just projects and like single story just shit boxes, and so we lived in one of those, and now it's all double tall like condos, and they're super lit. But when I was there, it was not that. And then I moved away, and I came back, and I lived in Brentwood in a house with like 6 musicians in like a McMansion. Like we rented a McMansion. It was totally not legit. Like we were not supposed to have that many people living there. It was just a bunch of drummers and bass players basically.
That's
and then
awesome.
And then I moved there with my girlfriend. Yeah, it was actually a pretty nice house, and it had a huge basement. So it was like we could have we had like 5 drum kits down there. It was really fun. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
You want to do that again? I'm ready.
Let's go. Come on over.
Like I said, I'm trying to get out of Charleston ASAP, man. I'm working
Talk
on
about
it
your
as hard as I
Nashville
can
drum
right
off.
No, we're talking.
Yeah, man. But it's been a while since I moved out of there in 2015. You know, but it was just a short period for me that I was down there. About 4 years.
Awesome.
And now you're in Indy.
I'm in Indy. Yeah.
Very cool.
And
so you're not too far away.
Yeah, not too far. It's still an easy drive, and
Sweetwater is like a grocery store to you, right?
It is. Yeah, it's like it's an hour north of here. Just I had a gig up there not too long ago that was like at a country club like across the street. It was like literally like, hey, yo, it's Sweetwater. You guys want to go? Like, so we all walked over there and kind of like kicked it for a little bit and just walked around and shopped and then came back. Like, guess we'll go play.
That's so nice, man.
I delivered an Uber Eats delivery to Vintage King's showroom once. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I need to go back to Sweetwater, man. I need to be in that atmosphere again. It's been a minute, man, because another Charleston, how we have the Guitar Center, man. Everyone knows about Guitar Center.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Oh my god,
it's desolate. You go in there now. I
went in there.
Nobody working.
I went in there for the first time in like a couple years, just because I was on that side of town, and I was just like, hey, just go ahead and just see what's going on. And I walked in there, and I was like, this is it. Like,
there's like spider webs.
Nobody in the drum department.
Nobody in the drum department. There's no drums in the drum department. All you guys like the snare drum rack and some cases and like
electronic drums.
One electronic kit, and then you got like
14 cajones.
Yeah, all the cajones and like a wall of cowbells and like 3 cymbals in the cymbal vault room. Like it's just
they really know what drummers are looking for, right? Like
yeah. I mean, like I said, you only got 2 people working in the store, and like you ask the guy to like, hey, you got any can you get that? Like they had like this one kit. Like I'll pull up a picture of it. I actually like almost bought it because it was so freaking cheap. Hold on, but like I asked the guy in there
something.
Is that the one you were telling me about that you were thinking about buying?
Which one? The DW kit?
Yeah.
What's the picture of it? They had this kit. I didn't take a picture of the entire kit because the kit joins on the shelf. But like it's a DW design series kit that
it's the black one,
like the matte. It's the matte black one.
Black.
And I looked up online, like you can get like the 5-piece kit with the matching snare for like $1,200, and then like that was just a floor tom snare, floor tom, rack tom, and kick drum, and it was listed as $1,000, but they marked it down to $499, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, do I do that?
We're talking.
Yeah,
but I asked the guy, I was like, hey man, I was like, I think it is still there because it was very dusty. And ain't nobody touch it. But I asked the guy at the front, I was like, hey man, can you like bring those drums down? I want to like see them real quick. And he like brought them down, and I was like, is this price correct? Like this can't be right. They're like, no, man, it's clearance, man. That kit's been sitting there for like almost 2 years. And I was like,
just move it.
Do I buy it?
Get it out.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, do I buy it? And I've been thinking, man. I've been going. It's still there right now. Like I've gone back over there a couple days ago. It's still sitting there.
I got $100 cash in my pocket, man.
I mean, I give him that right now. I'd be like, you know what, man?
Here's $300. Here's $350. I'll take it off your hands.
Brand new, like nothing is wrong with it. It's been sitting on the shelf for a long time, and I'm like, you guys don't get no business, like
at all.
Nothing, man. I was just like, wow, man, Guitar Center is down bad.
I started like my whole career in music business at Guitar Center. I worked at Guitar Center. Yeah, I was like 19 when I started working there, and PASIC, the Percussive Arts Society convention, is in Indianapolis, and I got to go work for the Guitar Center booth at the PASIC convention, and I met Benny Greb that night. Sick. Yeah, super sick. I met Benny Greb, and then I found out that like the dudes who did the Evans booth was this guy named Jim Bailey and Ian Shepard, and they were like 2 dudes from Indianapolis, and they also were D'Addario guys. And so I ended up getting linked in with D'Addario because of working at the trade show for PASIC for Guitar Center, and then years later worked for D'Addario at trade shows for PASIC and like drum corps stuff. So that's weird. Guitar, it's like Guitar Center for the most part, big old fart. But I gotta say, thanks for the help. You got me there.
Yeah, nah, dude.
They used to be cool. I think they've exchanged hands or changed hands a few times. That's the saying. They've they changed hands a few times.
They over. I remember like when I used to go there as a kid, dude, like they were like much better, and I was like, I'm gonna go there every day and play drums and do all that shit because you could, but now there's no drums to even play. There's no drums on the floor, so you can't even touch them.
Can't even check it out.
Can't even test them out, man. But Sweetwater, they know what they're doing, man. Last time I was up there, they had that giant room, and there was just nothing but drum sets, and everything was nice and. I mean, some stuff was beat up, and I was like, okay, that's a demo product, but
you got to come to Forks, man. You got to come to Forks here in Nashville. I
always wanted to go to Forks, dude.
Drum closet, some cool spots.
Forks. Love it.
I remember like when I used to. You guys remember Modern Drummer? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys read Modern Drummer magazine.
I still have it.
Oh yeah,
it still exists.
Right over here.
Dude, I have like 3 boxes of them, and I haven't picked them up in a very long time. But I remember like Forks always had like one of the first pages, like a giant ad for like Forks Drum Closet.
Yep.
I always saw it, and I was like, man, I gotta go there one day. And then the other one was
Which location do you like better?
Drum Center.
Oh, so I'm not a percussion, like I'm not like a mallets guy. So
right.
I was very lucky to be able to get like a back warehouse tour of the hand percussion new warehouse that they have, Forks Warehouse. It was super duper cool because that's where they store like a lot of their kits. Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff. And then somebody, I can't say who, I'm not gonna like leak any secrets. I got to see somebody's very, very cool made by hand drum workshop workshop that you all know, and I'm not gonna say it, but I'll tell you guys later. Super duper cool. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus. So that was really neat. While I do like mallet stuff, I'm not like a marching guy, like per se. I appreciate it for sure because obviously talent. But
I could never do the mallet stuff, but I did do drumline.
Yeah, I always remember. Yeah, your singles were always on point.
When it came to those mallets, man, I couldn't tell you anything.
Yeah, no, garbage.
Stuff's silly, and they usually have 2 in each hand. How do they do that?
Yeah, no, I can't do that, man. There was always that one kid, like every year in high school, there was always that one kid that like did band just because he didn't know what thing to pick as his like fun class. What they call it? What was the name for that? You remember? Elective. Yeah. That's the name. There was always that one kid that just did band because like he didn't know what else to pick, and he like became like a god at the fucking 2 mallet shit. And I was like, how? Like
no one else was.
He's never picked it. Yeah, like he would just do it. Like he just. Yeah. He's just good at it, and I was like, "Wow, dude! I've been playing drums like a long time, and this kid just walks in here, freshman, never been in band class before, and he's just fucking nailing that." I was like, damn, I envy that guy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Beginner's luck.
Yeah, man. So,
well, I was gonna say talking gear and stuff like that. Thomas, will start with you again, and what are you actually playing on?
I've had this guy for a while. This is a Ludwig Epic. It's maple and I think birch. Birch in the middle with 2 maple plies. And it's what is it? It's a 13 by something silly, like 9 or 10 rack. 13 by 12 maybe. Times. They're kind of square. Yeah, you beat the crap out of them before. And then the the floor tom's a 16. I got a second floor tom. It's like a Bonham setup. They call it the Pro Beat. With an 18, but I turned that into like a miniature kick drum right there. And so that was my kick for a long time because it fits much easier in a car than a 24-inch kick drum, which is what that is. So, and if you have a woofer with you, it sounds like a 24. So whatever. So I just toured.
I know that pain,
right?
Yeah. I used to have the Gretsch Catalina 4-piece series, and it had the 26 by 22 kick drum.
Oh God,
brutal. So deep too.
Why?
Like,
It is the band that I was playing with when I had it back in the 08, 09. We played this Monster Music Fest there in Indiana.
yep.
It was the first one. It was my band. It was my band Fickles a lot of the time, and then the next night was Framing Hanley, and then that Sunday was Fountains of Wayne.
Oh, nice.
So we were headlining that Friday night, and they're like, okay, go line check. I hit that kick drum. Granted, the stage is all concrete, but the system was massive. He was like, okay, go ahead and give me your kick. I swear to God, my ass came about 4 inches off that stage. It hit hard. I was just like, whoa, shit, my butt puckered.
Oh,
I was like, oh,
that's always my favorite. That's always my favorite moment of sound check. Is always all right, give me the kick, and it's like, oh yeah, let's go. It's time.
Absolutely,
it's time.
Right in the chest. Oh shit.
So, what kind of cymbals do you play on, Thomas?
So I got the the beginning of COVID, I got the full extended Meinl Dark series, and I was honestly super duper nervous about getting them because they're like a heavier cymbal, and they're kind of like I kind of thought they were like a gimmicky, you know what I'm talking about? Because they got the cool design or whatever.
Yeah,
coding.
Yeah,
but that coding truly like brings down all of that high end stuff that was like really annoying to you. So it does. And I know this is like the buzzword for cymbals, but it does darken them. So like the name is true, but they are heavy. So they're rock. The hi-hats are awesome. They're heavy, but they're great. The ride is great. The bell doesn't have a lot of definition, which is really annoying because it's pretty big. It doesn't stick out too well, to be honest with you, but I like it nonetheless. It's a great rock ride. It's pingy. The crashes are awesome. It comes with like a couple of splashes and a couple of different like stack options. So like altogether, it was like 9 cymbals or something crazy. Yeah. And because of COVID, they let me come and pick it up right from the warehouse, which was really cool. So I got to go to the Meinl warehouse just outside though and look in, which was cool. What else? Oh, I have a set of, and they're like my babies. They're a handmade set. I couldn't tell you what the actual size is, but they're about 14 inches. They're handmade by a guy named David Collingwood in the UK. And
I remember these cymbals.
Yeah, you've definitely played them for sure.
Yeah, they sound good.
Yeah, they sound great. They're dry. They sound like the sand hats. It's kind of like that Benny Graham stuff. Not as defined. Meinl has that like sound. These are a lot of fun though. They're like a lower volume, so they're great for like smaller venues and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's a great like complement to the rock dark Meinls. But yeah, and then a couple of like random things here and there. I have my buddy Jared from Circleback. We traded. I had an A custom, and I just didn't like it anymore. It was too bright. So I gave him an A custom as collateral. He gave me like a pre-US Zildjian. It's sitting back there somewhere. It's like over here. I'll pull it up because I'm gonna grab my snare too. I'm gonna show you guys that too. But I got it's like a pre-US Zildjian, so like 1940s, pre-World War II something. 30s or something. But yeah, so that's really cool, and it's massive and heavy, and it rings forever. So that's a collateral for the A custom.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but I'll grab that, and I got my baby. I have a Vinnie Paul signature when he was with Pearl, and he did the snake skin and the spikes. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'm gonna grab this massive ride.
I should have never sold my Vinnie Paul.
Well, while he's doing that, Johnny, why don't you explain us to your kit?
Yeah, so I use 2 kits.
Stupid heavy. I think it used to have the weight on it.
Oh, here, let's
still have it in great. It's so heavy.
I just love this giant room he's in.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm like super jealous of this room right now. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got everything I want and more.
This is my baby.
Oh man, I should have never sold my man. I'm crying, man. I miss that drum so much.
Yeah,
I haven't seen one of those in years.
I know, it's super duper great. I think they only made a kind of a small amount. A buddy of Russo's and mine has like the second one in production ever, which is pretty awesome.
It's huge too, so rad.
I had one.
It looks like a miniature marching snare.
It does, yeah.
14 by 8. I have a super light that's 14 by 8 as well. It's just stupid big and metal and stuff. But yeah, so that's my fun. That's some of my fun stuff.
Never got rid of my fucking. I miss that drum so much, man. I'm about to cry.
I found on Reverb, man. They don't pop up often, but
they don't, dude. I've been looking. I've been looking every now and again. I remember when you got it. Like I came to the studio that day, and you're like, "Bro,
Yeah,
I just got this
I got
fucking
it.
mini pulse snare drum." And I was like, "No way." And like the next day, it showed up, and I was like, "You really fucking got one." Oh man, I'm jealous.
My favorite.
Johnny, the floor is yours, buddy.
So I've got a couple kits at home. I use a DW kit that's a pre-collector's. So it's like a 2000 year, which is right at the cusp of when they switched from a Keller shell to the DW press shells. But the first round of DW shells were kind of garbage. So I got lucky that I basically got the very like best of the Keller world in this kit. I got a crazy deal. I found it in a pawn shop. With a whole bunch of symbols and a whole bunch of stuff. I got it out of there for like $1,200.
Maybe there's a Vinnie Paul snare in a pawn shop near my house. I'll go check.
Dude, I'm telling you, I always look for them. If I find one, I'll text you.
So that's my main kit, and it's a 10, 12, 14, 16 with a 22 by 16 kick, which is actually my favorite 22 dimension is the 22 by 16.
Nice.
Then the other kit is one of those PDP concept classic kits, the wood hoop ones.
Yeah.
And I've got the 14 by 24, so the shallow 24 with the 13 and the 16.
Oh, cool.
And I love that kit. That kit is for the money. I say for the money, and it's like I would put that kit up against a whole lot of other kits, and it'll knock them down. Like it's a really, really, really legit kit. I've seen like Abe Laboriel records on his, Dave Elich records on one. I think
Chad
people are.
Oh no, he's on. Sorry.
Right. No, but I think that it's a slept on kit because of the wood hoops. I think that turns off some people because they think it's not going to be durable, or you're not going to get heavy tones, or you're not going to get whatever out of it. But like, I record a lot of metal with those drums, and they look like Levon Helm drums. You know, it looks like you're playing in a band, so it's not really like it doesn't have the vibe necessarily. But
do you have the PDP snare with the wood hoops?
I don't have that one. Actually, John Berkland has that snare drum. He's got that drum in his storage. And he doesn't use it. And I did ask him about it once, but I've already got one of his drums here. So I'm kind of like pushing my luck. Like, hey, man, can I just have your whole drum closet? Or,
he's with PDP, right? He's DW.
Yeah, he's PDP DW. He's using DW hardware and PDP drums. Mostly because he's a very budget conscious person. Like he's not the guy who wants to go way over on his budget. He also uses those Meinl dark cymbals, and we really like our front of house loves the crash. We use the crashes and the China.
Yeah, China's cool.
And they stay out of the they stay out of all the vocal microphones. Like you don't have any issues there. And for the most part, they're kind of just like mellow in the overheads, and it just works so great for front house because he can really boost the top end and get all that smack, and it's not just a bunch of So I'm a fan of those cymbals as well. And then I'm using right now. I'm actually in a weird transitional phase of cymbals. I've played Zildjian cymbals for I don't know however long, 16, 17 years. Yep. But I was actually last time I was in Nashville at Forks. At the new spot, I went upstairs and I was checking out a bunch of Peisty stuff, and I started just getting like, okay, why do I hear music in my head when I hear these cymbals? Like I was going through and just like playing all the models. I just was just going and just like walking down the line and hitting all of them. I was like, they all go together in this just beautiful musical way that I'd never heard. And then you guys probably know about the Peisty consistency thing where you just grab 5 of the same cymbal. They're identical. It's crazy. Like I've never experienced that. And one of the challenges I have is like, in Indy, where it's the same thing. We've got a Guitar Center and we have Sweetwater, and you can drive up to Sweetwater and pick out your cymbal, but it's still an hour and a half, and I don't really want to drive an hour and a half. I don't have to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like buying a cymbal, it's like got to order a Zildjian. Like damn, it's gonna come in and I have no idea what it's gonna sound like. You know, so I could never just order. I could never just trust myself to just order a cymbal and hope that it was gonna come in right. And I know that with Peisty that is totally the case, and so I kind of had to have a buddy who's an artist, and I was like, hey, do you think you could break me off a couple just so I can get my feet wet and see if I like these? And I got a Signature Full Crash, and I got a Masters Dark, both 19-inch.
Favorite.
Dude, the Signature Full Crash, like, I watched an interview with this producer, Eric Valentine.
Oh, yeah.
If you're familiar with Eric Valentine, he produced a lot of the records that we all listen to, in particular, Queens of the Stone Age Songs for the Deaf. It's probably like the one that he got the most shit for because he did the whole cymbals recorded separately from the shells thing to awesome effect and got an amazing sound. But they used signature full crashes for that record and basically every record that he did from like 2000 to 2008. And I was like, maybe I'll just start there, you know? And it's just got that sound, that just washy Van Halen, just like white noise cymbal sound. So I'm super, super happy with those. And I'm finding myself making the move. So I think I've played Ks for the most part for about 15 years. You know, it's like I've got a 22K ride, 15K light hats, which I do love. I love those cymbals a lot. Wait, but at this point, it's kind of like
what size hi-hats?
The K light.
Did you say 15?
15.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Wait a minute. Adam. Are you saying you don't use 15-inch hi hats? Because I use.
You never used them. I've made 18-inch hi hats.
Yeah,
ride
I've
crash.
used 18s and 20s, and
I've always used 14s.
I've always found that the slightly bigger hi-hat size, it keeps them out of the vocal mics. Like, I'm super concerned about that. I don't know why I've always been super concerned about how my presence on the stage was going to affect front of house, and I was always concerned about yeah, and I don't want to like blow out my other people's ears and stuff, like if I can help it, you know. And so I was always trying to be like conscious of that. And I got those 15s and I started having people be like, what hi-hats are you playing? And nobody ever asked me what hi-hats I played before ever. And I was like, there's got to be something to that, you know. So they just
same thing happened, when I got those Collingwoods. You're absolutely right. Yeah, making them bigger or darker or lower in like the register, it moves the whole frequency spectrum like down, you know. So it is getting, like you said, it gets out of the way of the vocal mic. That's what it's doing. Yeah.
And I feel like the drums come up more when the cymbals have a lower pitch,
like Bonham. That's how. Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, I said it. I was the first person to say Bonham. I was the first person to say Bonham on a drum.
There you go.
This is definitely worth the new title of. This is actually Nerd Talk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to talk about that.
But yeah, it's for me. I'm always swapping out because a lot of what I do is record, so I'm always using different cymbals for different purposes. So I'm always I'm really focused on the versatility of what I buy. Which is why I don't buy 16-inch crashes, because it's kind of a one-trick pony. But if you get a 19 or a 20-inch crash, well, you can use that as a ride cymbal in the right genre, you know. And it's like some of what I get asked to do is not rock and not metal, is very much indie, you know, indie pop music, and it's just a different thing, you know. And I'm happy to make those accommodations and try to do everything that I can to like deliver the thing that they're expecting to get. Not something that they're like, what now I have to do all this fucking work, and like, you didn't just get it right. Like, why don't you just get it? You know? So I'm just always trying to
So you're mixing and matching right now with Zildjian and Pisces. How many Pisces cymbals do you have, you know, currently? Do you have just one crash cymbal?
Just two. I've just got two. I've got the two crashes. The 19 Masters Dark I'm using on the left as more of just like a, you know, accent crash, and then I'm using the signature full 19 as like the crash ride. For most stuff, but I've used that 19 as a ride on, like, I use it on like sort of a John Coltrane-esque like jazz track, and it was just like a ride cymbal, just like ding 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 ding, and it just did this thing, and I was like, it's so clear and like pure, like one note, because the Ks get kind of messy. You know, there's so much tone and tonality. It's just dark and complex, and it's cool. But this just did this other thing that just seemed to fit better with the music, because it was kind of programmed music. So it just was a little cleaner for that sound and super versatile. I honestly, I really wasn't expecting it to be versatile. I was kind of expecting to hate it, if I'm being totally honest. I was like, I think it's going to be too bright. And I was so nervous about it. And I just loved it. So I'm a fan.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm trying to switch too, man. I mean, I'm currently all Zildjian as well. I've been all Zildjian my entire life. Because my dad. Dad also he has the Bonham, the Vistalite kit. So he's got the entire set of Pisces to go with it. So he's got the 24-inch ride. He's got the giant crash.
The 2002s.
The 2002s, like to the T, exactly what Bonham used. I'm pretty sure to the exact T. But that was, you know, I heard those cymbals and I was like, damn, dude, Pisces pretty dope, man. Like,
it's pretty dope.
I like the Signature series a lot.
Yeah.
Because I use A Customs.
Yeah.
No, I want to go 2002s, man. I've been contemplating, when the time comes, when I do make the switch, I'm going to make the switch. Either I'm going to go the vinyl route or I'm going to go the Pisces route. And unless I get seriously sold, maybe the Sabian route. But I'm going between vinyl and Pisces when the time comes.
Everybody's good.
Yeah, everybody's got
everybody's
like
good.
A little flavor for everybody. Meinl's doing a lot of country stuff. That Luke Combs stuff. That's all Meinl stuff. Like you can hear it, right?
You played Thomas. You played. I'm pretty sure you've played Rickard's Meinl, so you know what Rickard has. He has like those hybrid hats, and I think the ride some that he's got. I think he just has the bike.
It's all the sand or dark or
those
something
sand
series.
Hats, those sand
stupid
hats
man.
Sound so good.
It's it's not fair.
But then again, from what I play, I have like my Zildjian setup is pretty dialed into what I'm playing because what I'm using is.
You play some more like articulate stuff too, so like as good as those sound, like the articulate stuff you play on a hi-hat probably would get lost on those sand hats.
Yeah,
I got those 15-inch. I've been rocking these these hi-hats that I have. I have 15-inch. They're like the Z3. They're not master sounds. They're just regular Z3 15-inch hi-hats, and I've been rocking those since like 2014. Like I haven't cracked them, which is crazy. Which probably means I hit like a bitch, but I don't know.
No, you hit
that's good.
But I've been playing those forever, and like those when you said 15-inch hi-hats, I was like hell yeah, because like I'm a 15-inch guy myself. Yep. I use 15-inch Z3 hi-hats, and then I got 2 19-inch, and I actually just traded my 18 for a 20-inch A custom projection crash. Yep. And then I got the Mega Bell ride because you gotta have the Mega Bell ride. And then I have a 20-inch. I'm contemplating
that now.
Yeah, the Mega Bell ride.
Yeah,
dude.
Mine is
you guys
like
see the video of Mario Duplantier play the intro of the new tune?
Yeah.
It's just that bell.
Oh my god.
Yep.
I had to figure that out immediately, but I was like, I don't have that ride. Like you literally can't sound like it without the ride.
That was this morning. I think I saw that this morning too, or something. Yeah, why did he post that? That was great.
Yeah. No, dude, like I have that. I've had that ride for a long time too. The only thing was that I've like gone through or like crashed them was like I've had the same Mega Bell ride since I started playing out. Had the same hi-hat since I started playing out, and I've had the same China since I've been playing out. I just crashed them like crazy.
Keep them. Yeah,
they're easy to do.
Yeah.
The A customs too. The A customs do. The A customs are. All mine are like witch hats right now, dude. Like they're all fucking bent up and shit.
Witch hats, that's awesome.
I had a sweet ride too, but I sold the sweet ride for a somebody. Like I wanted another China, so I got an 18-inch HHX like China just because he wanted a sweet ride for it, and I was like, fuck it, just give me it. And that thing sounds pretty dope.
That's what I have.
But
crash.
Yeah,
China. Well,
China.
The 18 HHX.
Mm-hmm.
Just the regular one. It's not the Evolution.
It's Explosion or something. Yeah, it's got a tagline.
Yeah, no, I have that, and I use that every now and again. But that 20-inch Ultra Hammer Zildjian China is like where it's at, man.
That's a really dope symbol. Those are really rad.
I was gonna say, since joining the band that I'm with since October, I've gone through 5 symbols already in the last 6 months.
Good lord!
like no joke. Okay, I joined this group, and I came out the week before Halloween last October, and they were like, okay, it's like we already have like pretty much like a home kit or whatnot, so you don't have to worry about bringing yours out. And at the time, I'm living in California, so they pretty much like went out and bought me what I use. So he bought like a 17-inch China. He had like 18, 19, 17-inch crashes. Literally going through first rehearsal, I took like a chunk out of the China like that big, like literally first rehearsal. He was like, how are we supposed to fix that? I was like, go to an 18-inch. So right before we ended up going down to Texas, we got an 18 China. Haven't gone through it, but I've gone through 4 symbols before that. So we're talking 17, 18s, 19s. I'm like, I got to stop doing this. So I actually started getting 21-inch crash rides, and I'm actually now using those as my crashes.
Yep.
Because it's like anything lower than that, it's nope.
It's just going to break.
Nope. It's like I'm going to chew right through them.
Yeah,
Yep.
a 19 is the smallest crash I would use for pretty much anything. Mainly because of that. A lot of it is just the smash factor. You know, I got really used to, I used to do it like a 24, 20, and a 22 was kind of my set with the 15-inch hats for a long time. And you kind of get used to laying into it in a certain way. And when I would go down to 17s, it was this, or 17 or 18, it would just be like, oh God. And I was just crushing them and destroying them. I was like, I can't play those cymbals like that. You know,
and like Mike and Morgan, I actually sit above my cymbal. So I'm actually coming down on top of them. It's like, I'm not hitting really from the side anymore. Like I did, like when I starting to play with bands, you know, I was like directly right on. I'm just like, I can't do this. It's like, so I
used to sit on the floor, literally.
Pretty much. So it's like, nope.
I look at pictures from back then, dude. I look at pictures of my kit from like a long time ago. Like my cymbals are like higher than me, and I'm like on the floor. My toms are like slanted really weirdly, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, what the hell? Now I sit, you know, above my kit, and everything is like shoulder level to me. Like I'm sitting above everything. Like I literally. Yeah. Last time I played a gig, like I had the tape measure out and I was putting that motherfucker like right here on my shoulder. I had 4 crashes. Like it all. I OCD as hell when it comes to that shit.
I was say you're doing step bird thing.
This far from here.
You played on my drum set today.
I broke out the level and I like leveled my toms where they're flat. You know, I bought the memory locks for the floor toms, so the floor toms are always there, and I got the level for those, so they're leveled. You know, I'm like real big into that shit, man. I'd be a good drum tech.
You would be. Go. I was gonna say that's the kind
of shit. I was actually gonna mention that, Johnny. I am in talks with some people, or a person really, to get my my teching career on the go.
Good.
There you go.
That's great news. I hope that happens for you,
dude. I hope so too, man.
I love doing it. It's a totally different thing. There's things I love about it and things I don't like about it. I mean, I'll be totally frank with you. The thing I don't like about it is I just don't get to play drums every day. You know, except for sound check, basically. And fortunately, Brooklyn uses a pad, you know, kind of a pad set, so I can kind of get away for a little bit and kind of shed. But that's the main thing, is coming home and being like, I got to get my touch back and like do all that stuff. And that's not my favorite thing about it, but like the amount of shit that I've learned is unbelievable, you know, like, and not even just about drums. Yeah. And then the connections and the professional things that happen, like songwriting and whatnot, because of just meeting people from bands, and they learn like, oh, you write songs, or you make music, or, you know, do things other than just do this. Oh, you actually like the other kind of music that I like, or, you know, whatever it is. And then you end up working with people in different capacity than just being a tech on the road. So it's kind of been a lot of that for me was sort of an angle. I will kind of admit that I was like, I think I could maybe use the idea of being a drum tech as a way to just further my connections, because I live where I live. I don't have the opportunity to meet lots of people. And so far it's been something I enjoy doing. So, and I'm the kind of person until I stop, or when I stop enjoying something, I'm just done. Like I'm out. As soon as I don't like it anymore, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm cool. I'm going to move on. But for now, I'm going to stick with it for a bit.
Heck yeah.
So the question for you about that is, I want to know, like, how did you get started in teching? Because like me, I've been trying to figure out the way for a while. It just turns out I had to meet the right people first.
Yeah, that's it.
And I said, we got some mutual friends. So
that's a big reason why I moved here, to be honest, man. I have an analogy. I'm going to keep this. I don't want to interrupt anybody, but I want to keep it sweet. I have an analogy with my friend Alan Price. Is if you want to be, you know, if you want to work in a McDonald's, you have to live in a town where there's a McDonald's. So like that, and you know, we were talking about Charleston's great, got a good music scene, but it's just not. It wasn't big enough for like it didn't have the things that I wanted to further my career. Yeah, like
totally.
Yeah.
It's my experience was weird, man. Like I ended up getting it because I subbed for a gig with this band called The Contortionists. I played.
Oh, sick!
I played 2.5 tours, I guess, with those dudes. And they're front of house. Yeah, I love that band, man. Yeah,
sick.
Yeah, dude. I toured with them in the winter of 2018. It was like February through April. And then I went to Australia with them in May, which was unbelievable experience. I'd never been on a bus. I'd never been on on like a legit tour. We were direct support for Nothing More for the first month, and then straight into a headliner.
Damn, dude.
And that's another story. But like the front of house for that band is this dude Robbie Brown, and he ended up getting the Bad Wolves front of house gig.
Ooh, nice.
And a year goes by, right? And then Bad Wolves is going to be on tour. And there's like a 4-show run with this artist called Diamante. And Diamante is a rock artist, and her front of house ended up being the bass player Jordan from The Contortionist. Right? So Jordan hits up Robbie Brown and goes, "Yo, dude, I need a crew guy who can drive, assistant TM, merch, everything, stage guy, like the other guy that's not the front of house that literally has to just do everything." And so they ended up hitting me up, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do this as an opportunity to go play 4 arena shows. Sounds awesome. I've never done an arena show in my life." So I took the gig. It was brutal as fuck. It was one of those like drive 12 hours a night, sleep for 2 hours, drive another. It was like, I think I slept 10 hours in a week or something like that, one of those. But it ended up being like the reason that I met all these dudes. Bad Wolves is on there. I meet Brooklyn. I met Tommy. And then a little more time goes by.
Tour with him right now, right?
I
saw that.
Yes.
He is house right now.
He is on tour right now. That's another thing. But they ended up, let's see, how did this happen? I got offered to work for Atreyu. Robbie Brown again. Robbie Brown with Atreyu's front of house, right? Damn. So he's front of house for Atreyu on this tour called Disrupt Fest. And Norm Costa is the Atreyu drum tech. And if you don't know who Norm is also drum tech for Brand Daler with Mastodon. He's worked for Slayer, both with Paul and with Dave. But like all of the Dave records with Slayer, Norm tuned his drums, right? So this is some serious shoes to come in and fill. Like I was like super intimidated, but it was just a week until Norm could get back from working with Mastodon. So I was like, yeah, sick. This is awesome. Atreyu's one of my favorite bands. I would love to do this. So I did that gig for a week, and I guess they liked how I was working. And yet another dude who was on this Contortionist tour, Sam Kirby, is a front of house, and he was working for Silent Planet on that tour. And he was the front of house for Memphis Mayfire on the Disrupt Fest. I'm already on the tour. They were sharing a drum tech with dude from the Used, or the Used drum tech was also working for them, and they were having issues because of the time slot. And so they end up hitting up the management, and their manager just so happens to be Jason Rudolph, who is the Contortionist's manager, right? So it's like the most unbelievable, like everything just.
There was a big circle there.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, so I just stayed on the tour and finished out with Memphis Mayfire, and then a month goes by, and Bad Wolves had at that time they had front of house and one stage guy. The one stage guy was going away, and they were going to replace him with a guitar tech and a drum tech. And then he asked me to do that, and I've been with Bad Wolves since then.
Dang, nice, man.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just a weird
circle, man.
Giant circle, and it was totally fake it till you make it. It was like, hey, are you a drum tech? Yes. I tuned my own drums, so yeah, I guess I'm a drum tech.
What does that mean? I know, like Doc posted a video, I think it was earlier this month or last month, that they were looking for a guitar tech. Is that true?
They will be, because our guitar tech Tim is in Alluvial with Wes Hawk. So he's the bass player for Alluvial. He was before that. He was in Entheos.
They're really fucking
Entheos.
Yeah. Guitar tech.
Navy and Clipper Vibes.
Yeah. Well, there's.
I was gonna say I guitar tech and stage manage for a head PE.
Very cool. Well, so we'll throw your name in the hat, because I don't. If I'm being honest, I think.
I drum tech and stage manage for Nonpoint.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, you'd be right. You'd be right in the camp. Like you'd fit in. There's definitely going to be some personnel changes. The Tommy thing with Bad Wolves is like a whole crazy debacle that I really can't talk about too much, but like it's turned into like a weird thing, and there's some splitting of camps and whatnot.
It happens as long as everybody's still amicable and we're still all to have fun and stuff. So
yeah.
It's still just still our music world.
Absolutely.
I'll say we
did
have
a guy
question.
that's just watching the I'm on the sidelines just eating popcorn, just watching, man. I'm like,
yeah, dude. You're Kermit.
There was one
Crazy
question
shit,
earlier.
man.
If you were not drumming or working with drums or in the music industry, what job would you want to be involved with if it had nothing to do with like drumming?
Nothing to do with drumming or music at all.
Let me go back and
I
find it
couldn't
real
play.
quick so I can word it right. Here we go. What job would you be doing if you weren't a drummer?
I wasn't a drummer. I've been playing a lot of bass. I got a bass right here. I've been playing a lot of that so I can pick up some bass cover gigs downtown. And I actually started in Charleston as a bassist, playing for a rock band there. And then I haven't really since. And now there's just kind of an opportunity to start back up, and so I'd probably play bass. Or if the question is nothing musical at all, then I'd be doing film or something on that.
Yeah, so I figured you're probably doing the music videos for.
Yeah,
oh, dude, Thomas is real good at that shit, man. I've been able to watch Thomas work, and I've been able to sit next to him for a lot of his stuff, and I'm like, damn, dude, I just play drums, but this man,
you play drums very well.
Oh man, I love you, man.
Thank you very much. Oh, you as well. Everyone is so. This is the type of community that I've truly been looking for, and it sucks that it takes a lockdown or something crazy for all of us to come together.
Yeah,
no, dude, this was supposed to happen fresh when the pandemic started. I was the minute lockdown started and I got laid off from work and all my shows got canceled and all that, I was like, dude, I need something to do. And I hit up Chris, and Chris, he's getting married and he's on a honeymoon right now. Me and him talked about starting this show up, and then, quarantine got worse for me and I guess him. Well, not really him, mainly me. I was in a different spot back then, and, I'm in a better spot now, and we were able to start it. So I hit up Adam and I hit up Chris again, and I was like, you guys want to do a little drums only type of, podcast live stream thing, and we just get a bunch of our friends on here, and here we are today. So it's pretty cool because a lot of the people so far in 4 episodes in, I've never met before in person or never met at all. So it's pretty cool that, just a simple, DM on Instagram for a few of these people. I was just like, I got this show. You have no idea who the fuck I am. I'm just reaching out to people that are good drummers and like talking drums, that might want to talk drums, and just come on. It works. Like I said, we got about 2 months worth of episodes booked, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Before this, I know we were all in pandemic or whatnot, but I was worked for another station that actually had a program called Tech Talk, and I had P King from Hell Yeah, Vinny Paul's Drum Tech on. Yep. I had Mike Hurst from Live. He's done some other bands as well. Had him on. Had a couple other ones scheduled, and then obviously, with as long as I've been doing it, I had a big old schedule planned out. I'll say you brought up Slayer. A buddy of mine, Casey Peterson, works for Spoon, Machine Head. His very first band that he worked for was Escape the Fate. He's been with Nonpoint. So, yeah, he's been all over the place. Dustin Tversky, he came to Nonpoint from Saving Abel. He's front of house tour manager guy. So, yeah, it's I was like, hey, I know all these techs. I was like, let's just sit here and talk about tech stuff. Yep. And then he hit me up shortly after. He was like, hey, your one show? What about doing this show? I'm like, sure, let's do it.
That's what I was saying, man. Between me and between Adam and Chris, we have a long list of people, and I've been hogging the dates recently. I need to open up the books a little bit to let you guys put some people on. But
no, I was gonna say we're actually booked all the way almost through. We have the last Sunday in May to fill, and then we're already into June. So it's we have actually some pretty cool.
And waiting on confirmation, we'll already be in July. So it's pretty dope, man. We just announced this show, so it's pretty cool how the response has gone so far in just 4 episodes.
Yeah, very cool.
So, anyways, back to the drum talk. So you said what we talking? We're talking about Johnny being a drum tech and how pretty much what I got from that story was that connections are everything, and you have
everything.
Prosper.
It's all about how you conduct yourself.
That's all. Yeah.
It's when you're on a tour as a sub, especially, you're on a tour as a sub, you're not part of the band. You didn't write any of the music. You definitely shouldn't have an ego. You're just like a warm body who can also learn songs. Like, nice job, dude. It's like, at least that's how I looked at it. Like, I'm just like a dude who I went to high school with these guys when they, we were all from the same place. So that's how it worked out, So I just tried to be humble and I tried to learn because I was, like I said, it was my first bus tour, my first club tour, my first like anything tour that wasn't me loading up with a bunch of dudes that didn't know what we were doing in a van, So I just felt super lucky just to get to learn at a very high level right away, and just kind of get thrown into the fire. And that's actually usually what works best for me anyways, to just sort of be like, just go do it. And if I try to think about it too much, I'm going to mess it up every time. But connections, and really your connections come back down to those, like your reputation more so than just who you know. Cause like you can know a bunch of people, but if you're a scumbag, like you're still a scumbag.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be cool, man.
It breeds a really good community though. That type of mentality and that type of work like environment breeds a really it can also weed out like the bad people. Like if you have this like Nashville is very small. You were here. Like it's a big town. But if you start meeting people, you start realizing like, oh, all of these people know each other. And it's because they all want to be nice to each other and help each other out.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool web.
Too.
Yeah,
Everybody
exactly.
Talks.
Everybody talks and people like drama happens and people gossip. And if it's bad gossip, that's not great.
It's not. No, it's really not. It can hurt you for sure.
Someone just asked if they need tuning tips.
It's actually my buddy Sean.
I love tuning.
Hey,
I
Sean.
often have so many setup and band duties that by the time I get behind the kit, I may not be able to hit full volume or for very long because of sound.
Dude, drum dial. Do it without any sound. That's how I tune everything. I got to give a tuning like lecture in Charleston before I left, and that was fun. It really wasn't a lecture. I didn't like charge anybody anything or anything crazy. We just had like got some friends of mine together, and we had like a tuning like workshop where we all got together. I brought a drum dial and a bunch of drums. I brought this drum set, and like a few people showed up, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Drum dial actually posted my thing about it, which was pretty nice of them.
Very cool.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
For me,
I've never used the drum dial.
Oh, I love it.
I like it too. It's funny. The guy that asked this question, I've actually subbed for him in his band. He at a wedding. The way I do it, and drum dial is definitely a really good answer. If you're not invested into the drum dial, or you haven't gotten it dialed, I guess you would say, to the point where like you can really like trust yourself with it, because like I don't know how you did it, but the way I used the drum dial was I would like get the drum set the way I wanted it to sound, and then I would measure it and find out what the setting was that ears liked. That was kind of how I
Damn, that's good, dude. That's real, because I'm that way. Like I'm not, what's the word? I guess I'm not very technical with tuning, but I know I can tune a drum. And I know
the way you want it to sound.
You want it to sound. Yeah. That's what tuning a drum is. That's all.
Yeah, it's just getting the sound that you're expecting to hear when you hit it the way that you hit it.
Every time.
Yeah.
But I have
the head combination too is like a big deal, and I've gotten that to where almost any kid. I only have 2 kits right now. Like the combos for each kid is different, obviously, because wood and the hoops and all that stuff plays a part into it. Mm-hmm. Like on my, I have a Birchview Binga kit. That kit, I go with just the regular, just coated tops, clear bottoms, just Remo Emperors bottom. And then on my Pearl kit, it's the frosted EC2s with just the regular G1s on the bottom, and EMAT on both kicks, for both kits. And that is just that's my go-to. That's
what you know how to dial immediately.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm trying to. There's talks about drum teching in my future, and I know this guy plays DW. I know he plays Remo, all Remo, and I'm pretty sure that'll be a little bit different for me. But I'll get it quick because I know I have good ear.
Yeah, you just have to have a discerning ear. That's really it. I know what they want and how to get it quickly.
I think that's one of the things I found.
A little of a teching tip also, it's like pre-pro. Definitely ask to be part of their pre-pro. That way you get out there and you can like oversee if it's already set up, obviously, and then make your marks, tape, Sharpie, stuff like that, mark everything how they like everything, and then that just makes it easier throughout that run to sit there and be like, I already got it taped off, so I know what this floor tom stands are at, this hi-hat stand, and all the cymbal stands and stuff like that. So it definitely helps me.
The situation going into would be, it should be pretty smooth because luckily this guy has the Raja with the cuppings, so it'll be easy to place everything where it needs to be.
Right.
The cymbal heights will be, I always have to tape those and stuff like that. But anyway, back to
memory locks.
Tuning.
Yeah.
Well, DW hardware does that. DW hardware has the memory locks, right?
Yeah, you'll be good.
Cool.
Yeah,
perfect, man. I got the shit
guys,
back.
I got this theory about tuning. I'm just gonna lay this out there. If the drum sounds good with your finger, it's gonna sound good with the stick. So you don't really have to go all that hard. When I'm setting up at a bar or whatever, I do like in Indianapolis, it's mostly bar gigs and like little clubs or weddings where I'm playing in like a tiny little room, that's never been designed for sound. So like there's nothing acoustically pleasing about these spaces. And like you said, you don't have the time to just sit there and just whack your snare drum for 5 minutes and kick, whatever, and really get everything dialed. Yeah. So I find myself kind of just making sure, like if I'm getting tone, but this is particularly with the toms, like if I'm getting a tone out of the top head and the bottom head is responding, that means the drum is fundamentally in tune with itself because the shell is actually activating both heads.
Tessitura.
And if that's not happening at the lowest dynamic, it's not really happening when you hit it harder. Yeah. You're just getting the perceived volume. So like I look at it very much as a perspective of like, I'm trying to go for a tonality, which means there's a pitch involved. Yeah. And so I'm actually seeking the pitches and trying to make them actually work together, kind of like scales, scale degrees.
So you tune to specific notes every time, or just to the sound of the shell? It sounded like you were.
It's kind of more so that. So like I generally I feel like drums are gonna have a spot where they want to live, and you can kind of get them a little up and a little down. There are some drums that are real versatile like that, but not most. Most drums are pretty like they're gonna have a range. And I try to find the range and stick to it. But really, I'm sticking to the bottom head as the most important part. So like before I even recheck the top heads every day, I tune the bottom head back to the point where I can go like boom, 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 and I can hear these like this descending pitch that I'm expecting to hear happening out of the bottom head, because I know if it's happening there, the top head doesn't really matter. You can muffle the top head out as much as you want. It's really just going to give you different sustain. But the pitch is coming through the column of air going through the bottom. So I'm really
people don't realize that everyone's always like, how do I tune a snare drum? I can't get my snare drum to sound good. Well, your bottom head has a hole in it, first of all, and it's like super loose.
Or you're missing a couple
strings dangling in the wind. Yeah, but I don't see that's not where the sound's coming from. I'm hitting the top one though.
Yeah,
dude, the bottom head is
it's everything.
Important. It's very, very important, man.
Especially snare drum, man.
So
good snare.
And kick drum.
Kick drum.
I actually have a funny story about that. Local venue actually here, they have a house kit, and they were putting on a reggae fest. So I wasn't at Thursday's festivities, but I came in on Friday and I was like, hey, let's get everything set up, blah, blah, blah. They end up, pretty much appointed me stage manager for the rest of the week. And I'm like, cool. So I'm up here like checking this drums. I'm like, this snare just does not sound right. So I took the snare off, flipped it upside down because it's a house kit, not my kit, had no idea. I'm like, Daniel, you know what the problem with the snare drum is? And he was like, what's that? I was like, you have a 2-ply head on the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
No.
So he had a top on the bottom, but he also had a top on the top. And I'm just like,
that hurts my heart.
There's your problem right there. So you have the
Jesus
but
Christ.
He's not a drummer, which I didn't fault him for. But he was like, I didn't know, if there were specific skins. He's a sound guy. He's not really a drum tech. So I was like, yeah, you actually have a top head for the bottom head. And he was like, well, shit.
What does that matter?
There's a problem,
man. But it does the same thing. Why does it matter? Oh, my God. I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, I'm over here hitting. I'm like, man, this just sounds like a 6-inch tom right now. No resonant, no flair to it at all. I'm just like, damn, that's the problem.
Do you guys watch or heard of a guy named Kenny Schertz.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that I've watched that kind of – I mean, I've always messed with tuning, but like until I discovered Kenny Schertz, I've watched all of his tuning videos, and he's kind of helped me gain my – help me dial in my stuff to where it needs to be and using all his tips and tricks. And I actually reached out to him trying to get him on the show, man, because I met him at NAMM, and he was like the coolest fucking dude. He was exactly what I expected. Trying to get him on the show at some point, but he's the guy that actually, I guess, taught me how to like tune properly. That's gotten me to where I am today with tuning drums. Because I'm not one to brag, but I think I can tune a drum pretty well.
Sure. Yeah, man. Kenny's the dude. Like, and I've definitely adopted a lot of his principles because, like, he was the first.
Do you sit on your kick drum head too?
Oh, right. I do. I stand on both of my kick drum heads before I port the hole. Yeah, I stand on them and I give them a good minute stand.
See, that's the one thing I won't do.
I did that at the set. I did that at the that tuning thing I did.
Yeah.
Just to show people, like, you're not going to hurt it. You kick it like every single day. Like, it's not going to. I'm standing. I'm moving. Like, I'm jumping up and down this thing. What do you think's going to happen?
It'll be fine.
Trampoline.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, Kenny has this video where he talks about Lil Jon Roberts snare drums.
Yeah.
That he uses with like Madonna, and the side snare really got me like, yo, I never thought about this. So he talked about like a lot of drumming, a lot of techs and drummers will tune to fourths or fifths between the heads, so that you get that open, like think like a power chord on a guitar, like like very like full aggressive sounding. Yeah, it's like that sound. Is the open fifth tuning. And I always tune my snare drums that way too, for a real open sound. But he was like, if you want that sort of crack, just like short sound without a lot of muffling, tune your heads a minor second apart. And I was like, that sounds too close to me. Yeah. And I was like, I got to try it though. And it works. The minor second on like a side, like a shallow, like a 5 or shallower snare drum, the minor second is gold.
It's almost kind of like what Sean does in Breaking Benjamin. On like those softer parts on Breaking Benjamin, you hear like a more. It almost sounds like an electronic snare. But I've seen them live. I've actually seen Sean, watched Sean and stuff like that. But he's got a little 12-inch over there, but it's like a 12x4, and it's like, okay, here's that softer part. So he's playing on the 12x4, but then as soon as like the power comes in, he switches right back over to that 14 to where it's like, holy crap. So I kind of adapted that to where I have my 14x6 as my main, but then I played D-drum hybrid and it came with a 13x7 snare. So I actually did that with my 13x7 where it's actually on my left, but it's more plays as like a piccolo snare compared to my full snare.
Verse snare, chorus snare, ballad snare, whatever.
Yeah. I have a little 10-inch PDP. It's like the little black one that they make.
505.
Yep, that's the one.
I got the Pearl version of that little guy right
the Firecracker.
Firecracker.
Yeah, exactly. that was my first little snare drum, man.
Dude, I bought this. So this came out around the same time, or at least I had the opportunity to buy this snare drum around the same time as the Vinnie Paul. The Vinnie Paul just happened to be a little bit more expensive at the time, and I was super cheap, and also like didn't have any money because I was a kid. And so I was like, "Oh, this one's good, fine." So I got that one, and then I finally got to redeem myself. But those little snares are pack a punch.
Dude, my Firecracker snare, I got that in 6th grade. It was like because in band class you had to have a snare drum, and it was like either you can like rent the one from school, or you could buy your, or you can have to bring your own to have one. So I was like, I'm just gonna go. I didn't know shit back then. This is awesome. Grade, man. But I was like, I'm gonna get the Firecracker snare. So I got the Firecracker snare. That thing lasted me 6th and 7th grade, and it was the sad thing about where it went. I don't have it no more. So I rode the bus one day, and I was bringing it home. And this is gonna make me. I can't even get the story out. I'm trying to laugh thinking about it. Man. Oh, it's so sad. It's just a stupid way to like. Oh, dude. Pretty much, I fell, and I fell like out of the bus, like walking off the bus, and the snare drum. I don't know how it had to be like my shoelace. Like it sounds so stupid, but this is dead serious. Like I fell out of the bus after school one day, and the drum went with me, and the drum on the damn on the ground. Drum. And I had one of those Roadrunner cases, so those things are thin.
Just nothing. It's a raincoat. You just wrapped it in a raincoat.
It's a t-shirt. It's just a t-shirt, man. Like, But yeah, that cracked the shell, and just the snare drum was done, and that was my firecracker snare drum story.
No.
That was a good one. It was a sad one.
It's sad, but good.
Yeah, man. I can't believe that happened because I remember like when I like stood up and I was like, oh no, like I unzipped it and I was like, oh, it's done. It's so done.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna open this. I know the sound of broken drum when I hear it.
I remember Johnny, I remember like a while ago you posted something on your Instagram story of like you fixing like a snare drum that like you dropped or it was like bent.
I had a bad like a case failure. So I had a soft bag with a shoulder strap. And I had my collector's DW copper. It's a 6.5 by 14. It's a really heavy drum. It's like 22 pounds with the die cast and everything.
Why?
I know. It's a 3mm cast shell, and it's just like sounds incredible.
I bet.
Yeah. So I was taking it to a gig, and I load, and the strap literally just popped off. So the drum just dropped straight from my shoulder. And I'm like 6'1", so just dropped 6 feet straight to the ground and landed, of course, on the strainer. You know, like of all the places to land. Now, if you know, copper is super, super soft, right? So like you can basically bend copper with almost nothing, right? So that shell indented about an inch. Like it was really serious. I cried. I literally cried.
Yeah. That was me and my firecracker snare, man. I cried.
That drum was a gift from the drummer from Diamante. On that first tour I was on, I dislocated my shoulder saving some gear. Forklift driver dumped his riser, and the playback rig was on the riser. So like the whole show is riding on this riser, and homie dropped it, and I rode it down, and it popped my shoulder out. Right, so my shoulder goes out, and I was fucking. I get up, and I'm like my arms like doing this, and I'm yelling at the dude, and everybody's like, "Yo, sit down! Like you cannot be freaking out right now. Your shoulder's all fucked up."
Oh my god!
So like after the tour.
That's what really goes on tour, man. Touring is dangerous.
It can be dangerous. Yeah. And I got a text, and it was like a picture of these two drums. It was a knurled bronze, and it was the copper. And the drummer said, he's like, yo, I'm on tour with both these drums. You got to meet me at Riverbend in Cincinnati and come get yours. And I was like, which one? And he's like, the copper one. I was like, because we talked about like our favorite, you know, and like I was like, I've always wanted a copper DW collector's drum.
That's sick.
And he bought it for me. It was like one of those like unbelievable friend gifts where you're like, nobody I know has ever given me a gift this extravagant.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's incredible.
So when I broke it, I felt like it was my fault, and I was like heartbroken. You know, I was just like, I love this drum. My friend gave it to me like such a kind gift, and then I fucked it up, and I was super bummed. But with a rubber mallet and a little bit of time and some pressure with my hands, I actually was able to get it back into round, and it tunes just like it did. And everything is back to normal. But there was about a 3-day period there where I was like, dude, and this was at the beginning of lockdown, and DW was not even in shop. Nobody was there. So they weren't doing any factory repairs at the time, no warranty repairs. And it was still under warranty, but I was able to get it back, and it still sounds great. But yeah, that was like a really rough few days for me. My girlfriend could probably attest that I was literally like a sad, like depressed boy on the couch, like in a blanket, like, no, leave me alone.
Life's not even worth it.
Yeah. End it all.
Oh my god. Oh man. Dropping drums, man.
I love this snare, and I bought it, and I think that the guy sold it to me out of round. But I always wanted it. It was a Steve Jordan. It was like his version of the Black Beauty. It was like, it was black.
Wait, the Steve Ferroni.
Steve Ferroni. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's correct. You are correct. Yeah, with gold hardware. Oh man, it was gorgeous. I got the chills just thinking about it, like just talking about it now. Yeah. And I had it. I owned one, and it sounded like crap. It didn't matter how you tuned it. I gave it to a bunch of people to try to tune it, and we eventually let's just check it. We had a pen and checked the round and put the other one, flipped it over, and it was like 2 ovals. It was rough, like not obviously like visible to the naked eye, but like when you did it, like it was obvious they were not, like it was like squatted, and oh man, so I sold it. I gave it to somebody else.
You want to buy the old Matt Halpern signature snare drum? I'm selling it.
with a sledgehammer.
The Wraith.
What do they call it thing?
The Wraith.
The Wraith. That's right.
Pretty neat. Those things are pretty cool.
I'm gonna get the pearl one that's coming out. I'm gonna get the pearl one.
What's the difference? Is this one metal?
Well, they're both brass, but the pearl one's thicker and die-cast hoops, and
it matches your kit.
And it matches my kit. I don't have a big ass kit no more, so you know.
I will forever be saving up for a what is it? Everybody's kind of got one, but they're all $1,999.99. It's that bronze 18x4, or I'm sorry, 14x8. 14x8.
The DW.
Oh, that's a big ass snare.
Big ass snare. I just love it. There's a bunch of people make them a bell bronze or bell brass, and then they have the cast bronze type thing, which is crazy. But yeah, that's what they're always.
I saw that
that's
thing
they're
in
capped
NAMM,
at 1999. What's that?
I saw this snare drum when I went to NAMM last year.
That one? Which one?
No. You said the DW?
Yeah, I think DW has a version of it. Actually, Pearl, the one that I would love, Pearl makes a free-floating snare thing. I'm not sure what that exactly is called. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, is that the pasty, the one made out of the 2002 symbols?
Well, no, it's DW, but it's all brass. Like the V, it's like their version of the VK all brass snare drum that weighs like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
that's crazy. But yeah, that's mine.
Which so your snare drum collection is just a Vinnie Paul snare drum, a Ludwig. Which one?
I sold a bunch of stuff, love moving here, and just wanting new sounds and stuff. So yeah, right now I'm able to make that Vinnie Paul snare be really versatile actually, in that I can do the same thing. I can get a dirtier, distorted kind of sound. I do not a bunch, but I do some home recording stuff now that I'm here. But and I've been able to do it with just those two. And if I need to get crazy with it, I got that piccolo. Of course, I would love more stuff, but of course. Yeah. Actually, I just saved up to get. This is my big splurge for the already. I've already done it for 2021. I can't do this year. I got an analog console, a 32-channel analog console that I'm getting tomorrow that I'm really excited about.
What'd you get?
Okay, it's not even really anything fancy, but I've wanted it for a really long time. It's 32 preamps and 32 4-band sweepable EQs with actually like decent frequencies on it. Yeah. It's a mid-90s Mackie made it. When it was the cusp of it was like the last recording console, like analog recording console. And back then it was like pretty expensive. I got it for a steal at like $250, which is crazy. Nice.
Yeah. So you guys both do home recording, and as someone who is trying to build the setup, all I have is drums right now, and I have a computer, I have a Mac.
That's a good start.
What is I know Johnny is very, very active in it. I see his videos all the time. They sound great. What is your setup?
So I'm using a Soundcraft UI24 is the console. It's a rack unit. Essentially, if you're familiar with like an M32, it's pretty much that same idea. It's a stage box, basically. So it's a faderless mixer, I guess you could say. So it's controlled over. You can use iPad or phone or computer. Yeah. It's 20 XLR or TRS combo ins, and then you've got 4 USB inputs, which is kind of an interesting thing that you can play with. But basically, what that means is you've got 20 spots to plug in drums.
Yeah.
And in terms of being an interface, like it works just like like those Focusrite Scarlett.
That's what I have. I have the 2i30.
The 2i2.
Nice.
Yeah.
2i2,
I was using the 18i20 until I got this, and the 18i20 is 8 ins, and that's fine. But what I
say that's like a good starting one.
It's a good starting one. But think about this. Think about your drum kit, right? You play 4 toms and 2 kicks.
No, 2 up, 2 down, 1 kick snare.
1 kick, 1 snare, right? So, but right there, you're at 6 channels.
Gone.
That means you only get 2 overheads, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so you want to mic the hi-hat and ride.
No hi-hat or ride mic, no China mic, and no like room mics, it's going to be just overheads and only stereo. So, and that was where I started realizing the limitation was like, okay, with only 8 ins and only, essentially 2 ambient mics, I can only get 1 image of my drum kit. and that's only the overhead image. And I really want to hear the ambience of the kit, which is room mics, right? So I was like,
hallway,
yeah, exactly. And so if I was going to do that, then it was like, well, I can only do one kick mic, one snare mic, and then I can only play 2 toms, right? So that then I was like, now I'm limiting my setup just so that I can get the sounds that I want. It's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I got an opportunity to buy this console from Bad Wolves.
Nice.
And I did. And so I bought that, and I actually ended up buying our mic rig as well. I bought these AKG, the C214s and a 451, and some of like the D40 close dynamic mics and the D12. And these mics made a huge difference. The mics, I mean, just by themselves made a huge difference because I actually got the mics before I got the console. And I could immediately tell that everything had gone up like 2 notches. But when the console came, then it was like not even the same ball game, because not only are the pre's are Studer pre's on there, and Studer makes tape machines. So it's a very analog-y, very aggressive sounding preamp. And it really, really like cleaned up my sound and kind of just got me more to like the sound that I was expecting to hear from the get-go. So that for me was kind of the biggest thing that took my production stuff at home to a level where I actually feel confident, like, you know, giving it to somebody to put on a major label release. And, and I've had a couple things come out of here that have, and I'm literally in the 2nd bedroom of my house, you know?
Yeah. So, right.
Nice.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's taken a while, you know, of like positioning the mics, figuring out what configuration of the room. It's a 12 by 10 room. It's not large. So there's only so many ways I can put the drums in here and put the mics in. But yeah, it's been working for me.
Got a question since we're already on the subject. You guys ever tried digital reference drum mics?
Never heard of them.
I have.
Yeah, same. I've tried them before. I've never tried any of their higher end models. I've tried a lot of like the drum kit pack stuff, and it's good on a budget.
It's fine on a budget. I would get the Samson stuff first. I would get the I got a pair of Samson CL2 small diaphragm condensers that come in like a little kit for like $200, and I still use them against my other, 3 or 4 times more expensive microphones. And like,
are you actually in your studio room?
I am in my studio room. The whole kit is, I gigged last night, so the room is kind of a mess. I could show you the mics are still all set up in here, but the drums are all gone. So it's kind of a weird setup in here right now.
No worries.
Here, let's see what's going on. So, all right, I'm gonna turn around because this is where I would sit. So I normally sit here, and right over my head, I use XY. So this is basically hearing what I thought
it was ORTF. Cool.
Yeah, ORTF vibe. And it's basically just
it's a wide XY. Okay, sorry.
It's a wide XY. Yeah, it's like a 45 or like a little under 90. And then
but that sounds great.
I've got a C214 and a C214, and these are basically set up to be at the very edges of the kit.
Sure.
Right. So they're about as wide of an image of the cymbals as you're going to get. And then I use a 57, good old 57, right in the middle. And that's basically pointed over the beater straight down. And the point there is basically just to get the center information to tie into the overheads. Right. So then that way you're actually, instead of having the gap in the middle in your stereo image, like I'm talking about, like listening in headphones, everything's spread out. There's no snare in the middle except for your close mic. And then that's a whole other thing. And then I use a couple room mics, and I kind of do this. Let's see.
Nice.
You see how it's pointed at the ground? Yeah. It's like a mess in here right now. I'm sorry. But I've got another one over here up in this corner. Same idea. And the idea there is to get non-direct signal. So I'm just going for the reflections essentially. And it gets you more of like the low end and the low mids. And so essentially what ends up happening is the overheads in here kind of work as like a cymbal mic, and the rooms are sort of the drum ambience, and then the close mics are just for the impact.
Nice.
That's how I do it.
And all those mics were from Bad Wolves. So that's the
AKG mics were. Everything else I had before, but the AKG stuff all came from Bad Wolves.
You'll like my overheads. So I got my last year's splurge was, there's a company called Peluso who have graciously added me to their artist roster recently, which is really cool of them. But they do a lot of, we lost him, he's gone. started talking about mics, and he's like, "Deuces."
You probably got a phone call, so it disconnected him.
Oh dang, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just got some cool mics. I'll wait till he gets back to bug him about it. But I got some cool overhead mics that I've like wanted for a long time, and I was able to splurge. My last year's birthday present was these microphones. They're pretty cool. All right,
I fat.
Gone again.
Oh my god.
Every show, Michael, we have that one guy's got a technical. He was like, "I got fat."
Oh, okay. So
he
I
was
had
doing good.
We were doing good.
You good?
All right.
Yeah.
It kicked me out and got back in. Sorry, I
good.
accidentally muted my phone. All right, I've messed up. I bet. I'm back.
Rock and roll.
Oh man.
I was saying, I just recently got a pair of those Peluso. They did a clone of the AKG C414 EBs with the C12s in them, and I got a stereo matched pair of those overhead. That's what this guy over here is. It's my favorite for absolutely everything. You can use it on guitars, on drums, on vocals. It's incredible.
Have you tried those on your toms yet?
Yeah, I did absolutely. Yeah, I saw somebody do it with some 414s like a while ago, and I was like, "Dang, really? Okay, that's an expensive mic to put in front of a drumstick." Right. But all right, cool. So yeah, I did it. I made a sample. I saw somebody on Reverb, like they did a Reverb.com, that that website. They did some kind of thing with a tom. They were making samples with a tom on top of a snare drum, and they were using 414s. I was like, "Oh, sweet, I'll do it with that too." So we tried. Sounds awesome. Yeah, very cool, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to turn my frog in my house into like my spot, if I can do that.
So so dude, that's what I was gonna say. I have this. Oh, so you have to combat that? Yeah, that's kind of.
I mean, it's not okay. It's not like super low. I mean, it's low compared to like the room I'm in right now.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's also it's not the biggest. I mean, everything will fit. But my thing is like getting like a good sound out of that room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might need to do some treatment. You might have to build some. Yeah, you might have to build some. I've got a couple of boxes. I've got like 6 more. I got to build in the basement or in the garage. But you might have to get some kits or get some bass traps or maybe a ceiling cloud or something. Yeah. But you could tune that room. You could, and then with some reverb, or even if you leave your door open. So this frog, I'm like towards the end, but it's pretty big. But to get like a longer delay or reverb tail for the drums, I'll leave the door open and put my mics in the hallway, so I get that. So you could totally like get a bigger sound with like a small room. There's ways to do it. I hate to say like just throw money at it by getting a kit or something like
But no, I mean you gotta. Was it you got to spend money to make money, right?
Yeah, sometimes. I have this 16-channel Tascam that I got for under $200.
Functions.
Really?
16 channel, and it's like a poor man's Apollo. It's got EQ and compression on every channel.
Yeah,
I had my Sweetwater guy like give me we had a conversation, and I wanted to I wanted to get the list together of stuff that I should get when I do this. I'm gonna try and pull it up and see what, because I remember one of the things on that list was the Tascam.
Yeah. They make a couple of different models. The one I have is 16 channels. They make another. It's like 20 channels. So and they're like pretty reasonably priced.
What is this? 12 channel.
There you go. Shit, that'd even be all right.
I'll do it.
Yeah, it's this one.
I want 3 mics on my kick drum, 3 on my snare. Yeah, see, that'd be okay. That's like an analog digital scenario. That'd be fun.
So he put that in there, and then the drum mic bundle. I've never heard of this company before. Maybe you guys have, but they have this whole bundle on here with mics, cables, and stands. And it's only $1,200, but like you get all that.
Is it SC?
Yeah.
SC.
Yeah. Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah, I've heard good. I've heard good stuff about those. Like Gergo Borlai's using them, and there's a couple other big guys that are.
Gergo Borlai, yeah.
Dude rips. Yeah.
Good lord.
Do you get stands and cables with the mics?
You mentioned Thomas. You mentioned 3 mics on the kick.
Yeah.
That's a thing I've been doing that is. Yeah, that's definitely worth exploring. If you haven't done that yet, give that a go, because
one on the batter, one on the inside for the shell.
You don't even have to eat your kick drum.
No, nothing. That's it.
4.
That's it. It's wonderful. It's the best. You tune it right, you hit it right.
Yeah.
Done.
So then where do you place the third and the fourth?
Well, I guess where do you put it?
I put one in, so I put like a boundary condenser. So think like a Beta 91. Mine's it's a Buyer.
That's exactly
That's on the inside.
Yeah, so I set that on the pillow, and then I pull the cable through and then I've got the D12 in the port, and I actually put the cable over so it doesn't touch the head.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. And then I've got one of these Solomon Low Freak. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing before, but it's like a sub mic, and Henry is Solomon mics, and he's from Indianapolis. Cool. And he and I are homies, and I've helped him solder some up, and I've got the only one that looks like mine, which is pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Those are sick.
And
I'm trying to find NS10.
Those three together give me everything, because the boundary condenser is just like, the Nocky part, the like top, you can boost 4K and 10K and get the metal thing, or you can boost 1K and get the bottom thing. And then with the D12 is sort of just meaty mid-range, and then the sub stuff is just like 100 and low. I just filter out all the high end on it and use it just as basically like a note, to kind of add length,
some weight and some butt to it.
A lot of butt.
Hit you in the chest.
Gotta love it. How do you guys feel about recording drums with an E-kit just for a perfect drum mix?
Like triggers or something?
Yeah, it depends on the music.
Sure, yeah. Teach their own. And definitely music, yeah.
If you're playing tech metal, like, if I'm being honest, like, everybody is going to take your drums and quantize and edit them to the point where they sound like a bunch of Matt Halpern samples anyway. So, like, you could beat them or you could join them, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a bunch of time.
I was going to say, this year, as like I read, Joey Thandadu from Theory of a Dead Man actually went with an all mesh kit, even though it looks like he's playing an acoustic kit. It's all mesh except for his snare drum. His snare drum is the only thing that is actually acoustic.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah,
that's what Tommy Lee did on that one of them last Motley Crue tours that he did. Really? He had the Crystal Beat kit, but he had the rubber E-kit heads. It wasn't mesh.
Oh, really?
His snare was real, but his toms and his kick was like, the pad, like Yamaha.
Yeah, Joey from Theory went that direction. I know when me and Rob, actually the last tour I was on with Nonpoint, we were playing Rock USA, and Theory of a Dead Man was the headliner that night on the second stage. So Joey had his kit set up, and me and Rob were both looking at it. We were like, what the hell kind of heads are those or whatnot? And Joey ended up walking up behind us. He was like, you like it? It's literally like, I'm over here touching it. I'm like, these are mesh heads. I'm like, this is an acoustic kit with all mesh heads on it. Yeah, it all runs into this. And he started giving us the whole lowdown. I'm like, fuck.
Well, man, the electronic stuff's getting crazy. I remember Russo. I don't know if you remember. We were talking at the beginning of quarantine. I was supposed to do this work with a company called Field Electronic Drums, which makes these really cool electronic drums out of Keller shells. Like, you could legit probably put heads on it and play it. Yeah. They're a little smaller just because they're like they put their own proprietary like electronic beater on it.
Yeah.
But the cymbals, you guys, they're made from actual bronze, but they have like it. Man, it's so weird. They like I'll have to send you the like Instagram links, because if you go and look at their videos, they have a test with like an actual cymbal of the same like size, and then they have a cymbal that looks like a hand hammered like. I don't know, whatever, name some cool looking cymbal. And then they have like an electronic rubber pad.
Yeah.
And the real cymbal is obviously really loud, but then they hit the rubber pad and they have like a decibel meter or whatever. And then they hit the metal electronic pad, and it's quieter somehow than the rubber and plastic, but it feels like a real cymbal, but it makes no noise. It's crazy. And you can make it trigger it. It's a trigger, so you can make it whatever you want. Isn't that crazy?
Weird.
It's nuts, man.
I love that.
They're gorgeous too. They look like real cymbals.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is that the one that has like all the holes all the way around the whole thing?
Some of them do. I got a couple. Oh, those are the
L80.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, how in the hell are you supposed to sit here and just fly on that thing and like, because as soon as you hit it, it's like dead. It's like, there's like no
music video symbols.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching some video of Mike Portnoy like a while ago. Like, he was doing a music video, but like all of his cymbals looked like real cymbals. Like, they had the brilliant finish and everything, but you would like see the video and he'd be hitting them, and they'd sound like a dud. And he's like, ding. There's no tape. There was no tape at all. Look, I don't know how or like what the hell that is. That was
double stack them.
I've heard
symbol.
that there are rigs, like you can rent these rigs, at least in LA. I know you can get them where it's like ringer, drums, and cymbals. It's exactly that, and they like literally rent them specifically for this, so that you have sort of the, less harsh acoustics or whatever for a 12-hour shoot or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I remember every video that I've had to film, I had to tape my cymbals, stupid, crazy taped, and we'll have to just deal with that for all day.
I know what we ended up doing with Rob's on the Chaos and Earthquakes. I actually double stacked cymbals because he was sponsored by Sabian, so he had like doubles of everything just in case one broke. I could sit there and replace it or whatnot. So for the music video shoot, we actually double stacked it.
Nice.
All the cymbals, and that way, so when you're shooting a music video, you're not getting all that resonant. It's literally
clack, 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 clack.
Yeah, that's all it's doing. I was like, holy crap! I'm like, this actually works.
my first video that I got to shoot, like I brought all my cymbals out, and like I was like, all right, like I had no idea I had no knowledge about shooting a video yet until this day. And I was like, you know what? After shooting that video, we put all this tape on my new cymbals, and everything was nice. And I was like, yo, what the hell? Why are we taping my cymbals for? Like, I can't hear it. Like, that's why we're doing that. Okay. Like the entire day, I'm like looking at like all my cymbals are all taped, and I'm taking the tape off, and like this doesn't feel right to me. So
sacrilege.
So, like,
it doesn't feel right.
The next time we shot the video. Yeah. The next video shoot we did, I was like, all right, I'm bringing like all my crack cymbals and I'm doing that route.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
Like it's funny because like throughout the day, like this tiny little crack I started with, it's like the entire cymbal.
Watching it rip.
Just watching it just rip down the middle, and I'm just like, oh my god, dude, like this is. I need to get those Mike Portnoy cymbals in that video. Oh man,
silly.
So. Let's shift topic. I know, Johnny, you produce and all that type of stuff. And I remember you posted this picture or a question on your Instagram story one day about the overplaying. I forget how you worded it, but it was pretty much saying like, I forget what you said.
Are you talking about there's a difference between playing for the song and just straight up being boring?
Playing for yourself? Oh, I see. Oh, cool.
Yeah, or play for yourself. There's also that. That's another aspect.
Going the other direction. That's interesting. Like sandbagging it.
Yeah, I think that there's been where at least where I come from, people here are always talking about less is more, right? But the way that I hear a lot of guys talk about less is more is like, well, you like less is more, but like I also know you're not in the league of like doing more. Right, like you're not there. So like, are you saying less is more is your approach because like that's what you got?
Because that's all you got.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, I kind of like give people shit about that around here because I go watch shows and I watch my homies and I'm like, and sometimes I end up sandbagging them after the gig and being like, what was that, man? Like, what was that? That was so dry. Like there was no sauce anywhere in that performance. Like you killed it, but nothing happened. Like I didn't feel like, whoa, that was cool. Like at any moment, and those are and that's kind of who I was referring to in that particular post. But like, I think that as drummers, we kind of got relegated to the back seat when tracks started coming to the front. So when tracks started becoming the way that producers were like thinking about things, and people started going like, well, now we got Slate. Why, recording drums is now a totally irrelevant thing, or it's a totally different thing, right? So then you got guitar players who are like, I can program all the drums. I don't need a drummer, right? Yep. So then you end up with 10 years of records programmed by guitar player producers, and drummers are trying to learn these drum parts, right?
Yeah, right.
And like, so in my mind, what ended up happening was traditional drumming, like the lineage of where drumming came from, just kind of like overnight got thrown out the window, and somebody else decided like, this is what drummers do now.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
And it's like I do like modern worship kind of stuff at churches around here for gigs and whatnot. And one of the things I notice over and over is it'll be this group. And here comes the other phrase. Every time. No downbeat.
That's it.
Like it's always the same fucking ending of every fill of every phrase, and I'm just like, bro, like, is anybody even thinking about the spaces in between all of the syncopated accents that they're using for this music. And so that's kind of where I
fill in the
deviate just a little bit. Like I want to be part of the production sound that's modern. Like I enjoy the modern production sound, but I also like traditional drumming. And I think that there was some incredible production happening in the 80s and in the 90s and in the 2000s. And I don't think that throwing all of that 30 years of amazing music production out is worth it. Like, and drumming, you know, in particular as an art form, drummers used to actually get to contribute to that part of the process. So I want to, as a drummer, be able to contribute to that part of the conversation and actually deliver drum tracks that are like 80s studio quality, because that to me is kind of like when studio players were sort of in their prime. You know, like everybody was super locked in. People had to play to Lindrum, right? There was sort of a lot of program shit coming in, and people had to play to tracks, you know, and so drummers started to get really tight. And yeah, I actually see somebody said ghost notes, please, right? If I hear another metal song where it's doom, God, doom, doom, with the loudest fucking ghost note you've ever heard, you're like, that's not a ghost note, that's a 99 velocity fucking bullshit. Like, come on, like that's not
I can do ghost notes.
You know, so
I
like,
totally do ghost notes.
So like dynamics became so irrelevant in drumming because of the way things were being programmed.
Just compress it.
Drummers started emulating.
Just compress it all.
Yeah, we had to emulate that shit just to keep our gigs. And so I guess I'm one to push. I'm always kind of pushing back against sort of the accepted current trend or whatever. And that's one of the accepted current trends that I'm just kind of like, I just don't really vibe with, like, play absolutely the most minimal thing that you can possibly think of, because I'm not sure that always serves the music. Sometimes it does. A lot of times it does, but not always. And so I think that it's important to have both sides of your playing together.
It's also important to play to a fucking click.
So,
dude, God bless, man.
I can't believe
there's
so many people out here that
guitarists. We're talking to you, guitarists.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Just once.
That's right, man. No, I love playing to a click. I will never not play to the click as long as there's a way for me to fucking always way to play to the click. I'm always playing to a click.
One job, maybe even two jobs that you don't have to take care of out the window. You can focus on having fun.
See, the biggest thing, like obviously with like the obviously keeping the songs the same tempo live and all that type of stuff, like all that, the click plays that purpose. But like the biggest thing for me, like it actually helped me not be stupid tired after 3 songs.
Yeah,
like
speed up, hit harder.
Like it helps me stay calm, collected, controlled. It keeps me like controlled, relax. Yeah, like, and some people are like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna play no click. I got it.
I am the tempo.
I am the tempo. The band. I drive the song." And I'm like,
and then the same guy goes, "Do you know less is more?"
You know it.
Oh man, and my thing is too though is like less, like if you're gonna say less is more, like you said, you have to, you got like there's like a way to.
There's a way to do that.
More. There's a way to do less is more.
Listen to Steve Jordan, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Check out Steve Jordan's pocket. You were talking about Steve. You said Steve Jordan earlier, but,
right?
But yeah, like, if you check out a Steve Jordan pocket, like it is an aggressive pocket. It's very aggressive, stanky pocket. Like he's hitting the hi-hat like this. I mean, he goes in when he plays, but he's playing
accent,
right? Yeah. Everything is an accent. Yeah, totally. But he's using light sticks and giant cymbals, right? So he's got this vibe. Drums are cranked up and all spanky, right? So he's got a lot of energy and vibe, right? But a lot of these guys who will go less is more are playing like low dynamics. Everything's tubby and everything's just sort of like. It's like, but it's dynamic, bro. And it's like, I mean, is it? If everything is the same dynamic, is that dynamics? I don't know what dynamics is.
Silly.
Oh,
I mean, like, so
drummers are funny.
Drummers are silly, man. You got that one headlight track, right? It's got one fill, and the fill is just an extra kick. That's like the fill, the whole song. But again, that works. Yeah, because it's right. Especially for drums, I found at some website you could buy that piccolo. Maybe it wasn't a piccolo, but you could like buy that snare. You could buy that exact snare that was used on that record. It was like some like historian's like drum catalog or something stupid.
Super cool.
for $13,000 if you just want to throw 13,000. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers around. I'm making it up. It was some exorbitant amount of money that like not even necessary.
Oh man, I love it. Less is more, y'all.
Less is more. Hashtag less is
more.
I'll say that's what I'm hashtagging this episode when we start resharing.
Less is more.
Episode 4, less is more with
episode 4.
With the dude that hates that.
Damn. I'm trying to think if there's any other like good topics we could hash on for the last 15 minutes. Any other what's I know Johnny's full of them, man. Johnny's Instagram story.
Like I said, we got about less than 15 minutes. Johnny, what do you have coming up as far as on the plate for the rest of 2020 or 2021?
Well, unfortunately, Bad Wolves had a tour lined up that was Disturbed Stained, and it is canceled, unfortunately. So they knocked that one down. I've heard that they've had a couple, rock on the range, Rocklahoma. I'm not sure which ones it is, but like those kinds of gigs, like in September, October, maybe. That are possible. So it's possible that they'll book a few of these festival tours and then book some club dates in between, with new vocalists, which will be really cool. Interesting. I haven't met the dude yet.
But they have one.
It's unannounced, but
you kind of just gave it away.
Okay. They would tell you that the search is over, but they're not going to announce anything until Tom is totally 100% out of the picture.
Right.
But yeah, that I would assume that will come soonish.
Anybody else you work for besides Bad Wolves?
No, not right now. I've had a couple people kind of contact me about potential things, like whatever, tentative, checking for dates and whatnot, but there's nothing official. Most of my business has moved into recording, which is what I always wanted to do anyway. So that kind of worked out. So that's mostly what I've been doing, is working with clients, various people. I'm very fortunate. I had a song come out earlier this year that I performed on with Atreyu.
I remember that.
Which is cool. It's a track called Warrior, and Travis Barker is on the tune, playing snare drum, and then I filled it out and made it more like a college marching band vibe rather than just like a single snare drum, which is pretty cool. So I'm very excited about that, because they're blasting that song at like Australian football.
I heard it on Octane.
Yeah, it's on Octane, and it's right now it's like trending on Instagram and a bunch of slam videos. So there's a bunch of kids getting like, I am blow in their face like right to a wall or whatever. It's super funny. It's a perfect song for slam fails. But yeah, it's mostly what local gigs. I've got this buddy named Andrew Greenwell in Indianapolis, and he's sort of like a modern pop sound, but he and I share sort of an 80s fandom. We both like a lot of like Def Leppard and sort of like big
don't get me
rock.
started, man. We'll talk for another hour.
So like we share these big harmony, epic kind of pop song thing. So he and I have been working together on I'm producing some songs with him, and then working with him live. But he's one of my buds, but this is his first time doing his music. He's a keyboard player as a side guy, and he's just an unbelievable keyboard player and background vocalist, is how I met him doing like wedding gigs. So I've been working with this guy now, doing his original stuff and trying to help him push it into a new direction. And it's just a lot of random different stuff. I'm recording a metal song one day, and I'm doing like a surf track, and then I'm playing brushes, and it's like, just kind of getting to use all of the drumming stuff that I always wanted to do. So I've been super blessed and feel really lucky to have been able to continue working as much as I have during this time. And I just hope that everything kind of picks back up so I can get back to the road, because I do enjoy that as well.
That's my big thing, man. It's with everything going on. Like, there's no clear. Everything's like, they're announcing all these festivals and these tours, but like
they could just cancel it.
Everything is like up in the air still. Like, I don't know what to think.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Like, there's no clear, definite, and that's what worries me the most, man. Because I know everybody's itching to get out, but like, there's still no clear.
It's financially unclear what is going to be profitable for venues and promoters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now they're most of them are owned by the same company or a group of companies. So many places. Exit In is now owned by somebody. It almost got shut down.
Yeah.
And it was, so that's a crazy thing. Yeah, man. Who knows what's going to happen? Live Nation owns half of everything now. They bought
Live Nation and AEG.
Music Farm. Yeah, AEG. Yeah. So that's going to be weird. You're going to have your
the farm
vaccine card.
Right now.
Farm got bought out, I believe. I think they're going to keep it a music venue, though.
Okay, I hope so.
I thought I read something about that in the Charleston scene on Facebook or something. So, internet always.
See that? I know what you're talking about. That was a article from a very long time ago.
Oh,
not accurate. People sharing that just wanted some clout, and
then I'll have to check that out.
That's the thing. A lot of people are sharing old stuff that's they don't read the date. It's
there's a lot of fucking idiotic people on the internet, man. That's all it is.
You're
this supports my theory, so I'm gonna post it.
Post it now. Okay, cool. I'll go to an article. I'm like, wow, this is from 2016. It's
relevant. Thanks.
Did you not read the date, even though you just posted it now, even though it happened 5 years ago?
No one looks at that shit, man. They just they're just trying to make everybody upset and sad and mad.
Yeah,
that shit, man.
So, how about you, Thomas? Anything you got coming up in the works?
I got some fun stuff. Yeah, very similar to Johnny. I've been very lucky. To be able to. Well, so I moved here, and there's just it's a big city, so there's luckily more work here to go around. So I've been able to find work doing music videos. Lyric videos are really popular right now too. I'm mixing a record for a girl named Heather Rice, actually in Charleston. Some really cool. It's it's jazzy, easy. I'm not even gonna try to put it into a pocket. She's a female vocalist that plays piano. It's really cool. It's got the drummer from Blue Man Group on it, so it's really neat. He's got a studio in Orlando, so I'm really excited about that.
Are you talking about Corky?
His name is Ryan, spelled R-I-O-N.
Oh, okay. I would say a buddy of mine he used to drum for Otherwise, but he's now one of the drum set players.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. They have they have a couple different ones.
Ryan's coming on the show next week, so.
Oh, wait, Ryan is?
Brian.
Oh,
the guy he just mentioned.
Gotcha.
Brian.
Cool.
He's coming on next week.
Very cool. So I'm doing that.
Why are you releasing that info now, Mike?
Yeah.
We never tell till Wednesday.
We'll find out. Edit it.
We're good. Trust me. We're good.
This isn't live, is it? Is it?
Damn snitch.
This whole time?
Snitches, Mike.
Hold on, keep going.
Oh yeah, I get very lucky. I get to do some home recording. It's usually rock stuff. I'm a rock drummer. I've been doing some country stuff just because I'm in Nashville playing on Broadway, which has actually been a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm playing a little bit of bass to get some gigs out on Broadway. Doing some producing for a girl named Allie Bay with a co-producer. We'll be co-producing it, Chris Vieira. So that's fun. Yeah, it's all over the board. Everyone's feeling creative, and everybody wants to they have that time now to do all that creatives. We've all as creatives been begging for that time, and now we have it, right? So I feel that Johnny, guys like you and me, and really everybody here is lucky to be able to help everybody feed that. So just be able to fuel all my fun creative outlets that I like to do, and I'm able to. So very lucky.
Very nice.
Hell yeah.
Well, we got a couple minutes left. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thomas O'Brien, the fifth. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a pleasure having you on this evening. We will reshare this. So if you guys want to, please drop, anything you got going on into the comments section.
Oh, yeah.
Have people sit there and check out what you're doing and stuff. Let's get them directed to your artist page. If you have an artist page, business page, whichever, stuff like that. And maybe even, throw you some more business. See if anybody's got any ideas.
Heck yeah. Johnny, let's collab on some stuff. This is what this is for, man.
I'm way down with that.
Let's do
it. Well, for Michael Russo, our missing guy, Chris, my name is Adam. Thank you guys for joining us on Who Gave the Drummer a Mic. Check us out next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
See you later.